you submit that form, tell us that you are the business owner, tell us that you're going to comply with our business quality guidelines, which are published, and promise to keep the data up to date.
Who's got an address in Littleton, Colorado, but serves all of Denver, Colorado. You know, you're telling us don't go get fake addresses, don't do this, but you know, we're pretty much forced to do things that are a little bit outside the box right now. So how are you going to solve that problem? You know, and when is that going to be solved? But if someone types Denver plumber, there's a guy who can't afford real estate in Denver, he's in the suburbs. What's he supposed to do?
Hello. Sure, I can start on that. So we're definitely well aware of that problem. We recognize that there are businesses out there whose, I think the best way to think of it is their location doesn't even matter because they come to you or they come to some site where you want some service performed. But they are local because they won't come anywhere, they'll come somewhere in Denver. As you know, we don't have a great answer for that right now. Local business center right now is for physical local businesses, where you can put a point on the map. Getting fake addresses isn't something that complies with our quality guidelines. But we're aware of the problem and something that we would like to improve.
So do you guys make, are you guys making specific vertical algorithms to detect, like, for instance, a carpet cleaner? I don't care what a carpet cleaner is, right? So to your point, right, he comes to me. But for a restaurant, I might care more about proximity. So there's obviously different ranking factors around that then? You consider proximity more relevant for certain industries? Is that what you're saying, right? Is that right?
That's not exactly what I'm saying, no. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you think about, but we'd love if there would be a way for businesses whose physical location doesn't matter to also be listed on maps. Right now there isn't a great one. It's not really as simple as categories, right? Because take restaurants can be delivery restaurants. They can be mostly delivery restaurants.
Well, it's a subcategory.
Sure. But then again, location doesn't matter as much. So it's complex.
More to Steve's point, I mean, certain types of businesses, even though there's a physical location you're going to, like if I'm looking to go buy batteries at Walgreens,
we'll review that, and if we agree that those three things seem to be true, we'll verify your feed. What that means is that data that you submit in a bulk upload will be treated as almost as trusted as if you had verified by PIN.
Business license. Can you define business owner? What about like franchise?
Right. So that's a really nice question. As I said, we don't want to be in sort of the business of arbitrating disputes between multiple parties who are legitimately business owners. So what we'd really like is for there to be one bulk upload, one sort of verified bulk upload user for any given location. So if, I don't know, Starwood Corporate, I guess, and somebody at the Sheraton brand, which is a sub-brand of Starwood, both want to submit data to us, it'd be really useful for them to resolve amongst themselves who's going to be the trusted source. Since they work at the same company, I hope that's possible. For them to represent, who tells us this is my agency, they are the trusted source, we'll consider that. But if we don't have contact at the business itself, at the business whose locations we're getting data about, that's not going to be enough to verify. So I mean, we recognize that not everybody has an in-house marketing department doing this. Some people, of course, use agencies.
Ben?
no offense, Google, we love you, but pass the mic. Actually, a question for starting from Facebook and everybody else, the big cannons of the internet are up there, so I should be curious to know what Andrew said. Actually, really interested in knowing what your perspectives are on the future of local, say 5 years from now, excluding mobile. The future of mobile as you guys see it.
Excluding mobile?
Not exclude mobile.
Oh, okay.
Oh, exclude mobile. Okay, I think I said exclude local.
No.
Like, what are you talking about, man? Okay, excluding mobile. That's pretty easy to do.
So, my personal opinion, I think 5 years is hard to predict. I think probably in the next, let's say 2 years, a little more manageable. I think there's going to be more and more APIs opening that's going to allow a lot more innovation. So when I look at things like, I heard Foursquare mentioned earlier, I'm a pretty big Foursquare addict myself. I think it's a really interesting concept. The idea of I need to make spontaneous plans right now. What's near me right now? I took a trip recently to Hawaii and used Yelp the entire time. It was a completely different trip than I've ever taken before. So for me, I think just faster getting information at your fingertips for those spontaneous occasions that are going to allow you to connect with local businesses where you are. I think that's one of the biggest things coming down the pike.
What about you?
I think you can look at it from a user perspective and from an advertiser perspective. From a user perspective, what we have right now is a fairly siloed experience between search and traditional content important thing from the user perspective is that local is really more than just business listings and POI, and today is highly siloed. So I think the point you made, Sarah, is a very good one around it becoming more socially threaded. But if you think about it, if you punch in a location, if you want to plan an itinerary, you might want other kinds of related information. It could be things like photos. Flickr. Well, a lot of those photos are geotagged. That might help you qualify the place you might be looking to go visit or make dinner reservations. We own a destination site called Upcoming, which is events and things to do. So you might want to have dinner and then go out to a concert, that kind of thing. So a broader definition of local, I think, is important from a user perspective. And just very briefly, from the advertiser's angle, I think largely what we face today is more of a supply problem and less of a demand problem. Local search is great, but if you're looking for plumber plus your zip code, how many clicks are you really going to get? And there are a lot more plumbers who want that inventory than inventory is available. So I think what we need to think about is how to get the rest of the content that doesn't live within the search environment to be more targeted. So that comes from things like geo-targeting content, tracking user location. And so increasingly, I think a destination site will be more relevant from a local inventory perspective. Those are some of the main dynamics that we're thinking about. Of course, these are very hairy problems, and a lot of different technologies and programs need to come together, so I don't think there are any easy answers per se.
On that note, this is from Facebook. In the next 2 years, would you guys expect, from a community building perspective, to provide location specific? What I'm getting at is that there is in fact demand for our patient population to build community around their local dialysis center, and being able to extend that feature through Facebook to those fans of our brand would be a huge step forward for community building. And so in the next year, do you see any future stuff like that?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Honestly, things change every 2 weeks on Facebook these days. But I think, that's where mobile really does come into play. I think a lot more is people opting in to do more things with their location by mobile. I think that the top thing we always think about is user experience. So if it's something that users are saying they want, I think that's something we would look at. If users are seeing that as an invasion of privacy or something that they find, feeling a little bit spammy, that businesses are kind of proactively reaching out to them and they weren't necessarily looking for that. I think that that's obviously going to trump it. So for us, it's all about user experience and what they're looking to have in terms of community.
So touching on Atif's point about content and targeting stuff like that, Andrew, you deal with a lot of IYPs, independent IYPs that get, Ben, who spoke earlier, his site gets over 1 million searches a month. And there's other IYPs that give from Local Easy, you'd be really good to talk about on the subject, that a lot of these independent IYPs that all get a couple million searches a month. Do you guys see some type of really put together ad network out there that like everyone's trying to do it, like Marchex is trying to do it, Reach Local's trying to do it, all these local companies are trying to do it, but no big guys doing it. Like you guys have the newspaper consortium, right? You guys have ad manager, but